All right, well, welcome back, you all. Um, Not a whole lot to do today. I'm on lunch break from work, so I'm going to go ahead and just whip something up here today. Today we're going to be doing fried rice. So stick around. It's a super simple meal to make. As many or as few ingredients really as you want. So hang out with me and I'll show you how I make it. All right, so let's go over our ingredients. So first, we're making egg fried rice. So we start with day-old rice. This has been in the refrigerator overnight. I use medium or long grain rice for this. Sticky rice tends to stick too much and it's hard to break apart, and then it ends up being a big gooey mess when you start cooking with it. So then this is just regular old grocery store jasmine rice that I got. I think it's Kroger brand or something. Nothing super fancy, but make sure that don't make it fresh. Don't try and use fresh rice. Make sure that it's been chilled in the refrigerator, ideally overnight. But if you make it in the morning and then cook with it at night, that would work probably as well. Next, eggs. So I'm going to use four large eggs here. You can use less than that. You could just use egg yolks if you wanted to, or egg whites if that's your thing. I just use 4 whole eggs. I will crack those open, mix them up in a little bowl, and then we're going to add them in a little while. All right, so something to cook with. Animal fat of some sort is usually ideal. I'm going to be using bacon grease just because I have it around and I save it in this jar here. But if you have duck fat or beef tallow or something, you could cook with that as well. Also, if you don't want to use this, I would recommend vegetable oil to substitute. Or even peanut oil if that's your thing. I wouldn't recommend olive oil. It makes it look too wet and oily looking. So I would recommend, an animal fat of some sort, or a vegetable oil, or canola oil, or peanut oil. I don't have, just to add a little bit of heat, I make my own Hatch chilies every year and I jar them up and use them throughout the year. And that's what I'm going to be using here. So these are just Hatch green chilies. You can use these, you can buy them in a little can at the store. You can get mild ones or hot ones. Mine tend to be more of like a Russian roulette. I don't know if I'm going to burn my face off with this jar or if it's going to be a nice flavor. But I'm going to go ahead and use my Hatch chilies. If you have some Asian chilies, sauce or paste, definitely go with that if you like, or skip it all together. You don't need it. Soy sauce, we're going to be using that while we cook, just to add a little bit of flavor, to give it that soy sauce flavor to our rice. Toasted sesame oil, I'm going to be using some of that as well. This really gives it a great flavor as well. One thing to keep in mind with sesame oil is that a little bit goes a long way, so don't overdo it on the sesame oil. You're maybe going to use a teaspoon or a tablespoon for your entire batch. It's really more for an aromatic, and it adds flavor. I have my secret ingredient here, so I'll get into that a little bit later. And then once our rice is done, I usually just for a garnish, I top it off with a little bit of toasted sesame seeds. All right, now for veggies, I've got 1 shallot. Now you can use regular onion if you like. If you don't have a shallot available, a medium or small yellow onion would work great. I've got a little bit of green onion here, spring onion, that I'll use towards the tail end of when it's just about done cooking. Don't put this on too early, otherwise it'll get all soggy and wilty, and we want it to kind of add color and a little bit of flavor. We want a little bit of crunch. Garlic. Use as much garlic as you like. Here in our house, my kids and my kids and I, we love garlic. So I'm going to be adding, that's like 2 large cloves, so roughly 4 large cloves of garlic. I'm going to be chopping that up real good. And then for veggies, I'm going to just add this little bag of frozen peas and carrots. You don't need to add that if you don't want to. You could just stick with the onion if you want to. All right, and then one thing I forgot to pull out of the fridge actually is some chicken thighs. So these are like some little scraps left over. I made a chicken dish the other night, and these, you know, and I used the big thighs out of the pack, and these were just like some little scraps. So these are boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can use anything that you want. Chicken breasts I usually stay away from because it dries out super fast, and it's, you know, my kids generally like dark meat, but you don't have to use this if you don't want to. Again, it just adds a little extra protein for my growing kids. You could use, if you're a vegetarian, you know, use tofu, or if you have some beef, you know, in the refrigerator that you want to make use of. Pork, you know, you can always chop up the pork and use that as well. Use any old meat that you see fit. Shrimp, you know, fish, whatever. So if you want to add a little boost of protein into your fried rice, definitely add a meat of some sort. So for cooking, I've just got a couple of pans here. I've got a wok that I can use, and this is a nicer wok, but you can absolutely get these for pretty cheap at Walmart. And you don't need one. You can definitely use a regular pan. But using a wok is much easier because it has the higher sides on it. It's easier to turn. It's easier to cook out of. And then I'm gonna actually have a second pan here, just to like cook up like my onions and all that stuff in there, and or the eggs or whatever separately. So, but that's all of our stuff that we need to go ahead and make our fried rice. So let's get cooking. All right, well, we are ready to go then. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of our fat here to that guy, and just a hair bit over here to this other little guy. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be using this to like cook all my onion and all that, and I'm just gonna cook my chicken separately over in that one over there. So all the rest of it, I mean, pretty much, and that's just my preference. You could actually cook everything all in the same wok or pan, especially if you got a good sized one like this. So we've got our fat in there, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get that oil all good and melted down. All right. We will toss our chicken into that one. All right, just about ready on this side as well. All right, I've got both my onion and my garlic in this one little bowl right here, and I'm going to cook these at the same time. So blend those up. All right, so sounding pretty good. Let's see. All right, perfect. We'll get all of this on into our pot. All right. Ooh, that smells good. All right, and I've got both of these set for about medium heat. So if we were outside, you know, I'd probably crank the heat up, but I don't want to set off any smoke alarms, so I'm just going to go ahead and we're gonna keep it at about medium heat. All right, that looks good. Now, for these hatch chilies, I toss them in right about now. So just a nice little bit, and those will kind of really cook down and break apart and kind of just become part of it all. All right, looking good. All right, so I'm going to cook my my onions and all that until they're about translucent, and then I'm going to start adding in the next ingredients. So I'll cook my chicken over here until it's just starting to brown, and then I'll toss it back in. I don't want to overdo it and make and harden it up, because it's going to cook a little bit more over when it gets over into this one here as well. So All right, looking good. It's looking all right. Almost there on these onions and this garlic. So, it smells fantastic. The smell of the chilies along with the garlic and the onion, it's hard to beat. All right, you don't want it to burn. You don't want it to start getting too brown, so keep that moving around. If you like, you can always use your pan to kind of move it. All right, I'm thinking that's probably about good. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my eggs in. All right. Excellent. So our eggs, as they start to kind of stick, just get them underneath. Get underneath there, keep them moving. You want to scramble these, so just little tiny bits of egg in each bite. Alright, that chicken's coming along nicely. Alright, this chicken's probably good and done by now. Yeah, I'm gonna do just kind of, I'm gonna leave as much of that juice behind as I can. And there we go. Perfect. Then get that mixed up real good. All right, coming along great. Chop up those eggs. You just want to get them down, chopped up as small as you can. All right, next I'm going to throw in my veggies. These are still kind of frozen, so I'm going to put them in now. They are pre-cooked, so if you are using raw carrot or raw peas, you might put the carrots in a little bit early just to give them time to soften up. Either that or cut them up into really small pieces. All right, looking good. Keep mixing, keep mixing. All right, great. All right, so now it's time to put in our rice. So the rice, I like to kind of, sprinkle it in. So break it up. Try to get rid of as many of those big chunks as you can. That way you don't have to break them up when they're in the pan. All right, it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be some chunks, but you're just going to use your spatula to break those up. Each individual grain of rice should be pretty much separated. All right, looking good. All right, perfect. Excellent. So now, I'm going to wash this rice off my hand. All right, great. We got our rice in there. I'm going to crank up the heat again. Let's go to town. Just folding that in there. If you see a chunk of rice, just try and bang it out. Don't want the chunks, we just want nice, even rice. Smells great. All right. It's looking good. All right, it's time to add time to add our flavors in. All right, so first I'm just gonna drop in my soy sauce. I'm just gonna give this a really good dose all along the edge. All right, you put it along the edge, that way it goes down and you get your spatula in there and you can really get it mixed around in the rice. Oh, that smells fantastic. And if I had to guess how much soy sauce I use there, I'd probably say maybe like 3 tablespoons worth, or maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. All right, keep aiming for those little chunks of rice. You see one, just bang it out. Keep it mixing. All right, looking great. All right, awesome. So I'm going to add my other aromatic now, my sesame oil. And I'm going to, if I had to guess, I'd say I'm putting about, I don't know, maybe about a tablespoon, or maybe about a teaspoon and a half of that in there. You can always add more, but if you put in too much, you can't take it out. Oh yeah, that smells fantastic. Alright, so might as well at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toss in my secret ingredient. So it's not really a secret. So this is MSG, so monosodium glutamate. You can buy this at any Asian market. If not, you can just get it off of Amazon or something. But I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that in here. And that's going to give it a really great flavor. It almost brings in gives it like a mushroomy. It just really fills it out the flavor a lot. So we've added that in there. Oh, it smells fantastic. All right. I'm going to go ahead and toss in some of the ends of my green onion in here. Perfect. Keep mixing. Alright, and we're about good to go, folks. Alright, here's the rest of our green onion. At this point, alright, we'll give it another quick stir here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kick my heat down. right, and that looks great. That's good. I'm going to give you just a little more soy sauce here. All right, let's take one more little taste here. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm gonna add a little bit more sesame oil. So probably about another teaspoon's worth. Like I said, a little bit of sesame oil goes a long way, so use it sparingly. Now, if I were the only one eating this, I'd probably add some sriracha or something in here just to give it a little bit more kick. But my kids are going to be eating it, and they're not a big fan of spice. So, but that looks good. We are good to go. All right, perfect. So we'll do a taste test here, a final taste test here in just a minute. So I'll let it cool down just a little bit. But that's fried rice, easy peasy. All right, we've got it plated. We're gonna go ahead and just take our little sesame seeds here, just kind of give them a little dash there, and we are good to go. All right, well, let's give it a taste. Just use a spoon. That's right on the money. I'd probably dump a little sriracha on it or some red chili flakes or something, but as this is, banging. All right. Well, as always, everybody, thanks for watching the video. I hope you'll try this recipe out. It's easy. It's not expensive. Put that leftover rice to good use. So. As always, make sure you are clicking the like button, clicking the subscribe button, and until next time.